Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and this is another video on Watcher of Realms, and as you can see, we are on the test server. Why, you ask? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you we are here to test out the new epics available to us in the test server that are coming soon to a live server near you. Whether that's Forerunner, whether that's public, when exactly that is, we do not know, but we do know there are 4 new epics in the game. Esme is the first one we're going to look at, and that's what we're going to do in today's video. Full disclaimer, as I did in my previous test server videos, the gear is not the same. The gear is not anywhere near. Also, I want to mention that I did see that Dan Heilman did put out a video on her very recently. I avoided that video like the plague. I understand it's out there. He has way better gear on his test server than I do. I know that, but I like to test them out anyway, right? Maybe you get a difference of opinion. Maybe we get some different ideas. Even the fact that I'm going to have worse gear than him may tell you what this champion can or can't do at certain levels of the game. So I think it's still worthwhile for multiple of us to take a look at him. So just so you know, I have not colored my thoughts by his video. I'm going to watch his video after recording this because I'm actually genuinely curious to see what he sees and what he does. But without further ado, let's talk about the first of 4. It is Esme. Here's Esme. It looks like Nyx's baby. Where is Nyx? Let's take a look at Nyx here.
Bleeding evil.
Come on now. Same tailor, maybe?
If blood loss doesn't
Yeah.
kill you,
Same tailor, possibly family. I would like to think that if there was any sort of lore in this game, they're family. But here's Esme. I like her look. I like her style. More importantly, though, I like her kit. And let's just take a look at that kit right now. We have maxed her out. We have put her to A5. We'll talk about where we're going to try her out in the different areas soon. But first things first, let's take a look at her talent. Actually, let's talk, her talent first. Basic attack has a 50% chance of bouncing to 1 extra target and has a 30% chance of inflicting poison on the target. Poison is a 5-second continuous damage of 1% of the target's max HP per second, stacking up to 3 times. And then we have her ultimate. When activated, increases damage by 60%, and each basic attack lands 2 consecutive strikes instead. The second strike will attack a random enemy in range. And then we have her basic attack deals 110% damage to 1 enemy, prioritizes airborne. And then her Awakening 3 increases the chance of basic attack to bounce by 25%, so that's nice. And Awaken 5 increases the crit rate of basic attack by 50% against targets inflicted with poison. Don't know really what we can do with that. I guess we can build her out for less than 100% crit rate if you needed to, and then that would allow you to once they get poisoned, to get that continual crit rate. I think that makes her very easy to build early on. I think end game players or late game players, if you're still using her, you're probably going to build her out for 100% crit because you don't want RNG to determine whether or not you hit well or not. But we'll see what happens there. And then we have the passive Venomous Eruption. When hero's basic attack kills a target inflicted with poison, it deals 100% AoE damage to up to 5 targets. Venomous Eruption inflicts stun due to her A1, which is unable to take action for 0.5 upon the target. So just overall, nice explosion. I'm hearing left side gear raid 3 immediately. So this is probably a good option for that. And we're going to test that out, of course. And then, we're going to test her in a couple different areas as well. So there she is. She is a piercing lord. Let's take a look at her base attributes. We don't have any gear on her as of yet. So we're just taking a look at her sans. I do have an artifact on her. We are going to be using artifact, obviously. So you're going to see basic attack 29-26, which is, I think, pretty much in the range. It might be actually a little bit higher. Let's take a look at here. So yeah, 31.99. It is a little bit low, but I think the fact that she's getting that extra poison damage, which does not scale off of attack, probably why she's got that lower attack level. You can see her cost is 11, which is very nice. It's in line with all the other kind of piercer champions. Blocks 1, obviously. Revival time 60 seconds. Attack interval 2 seconds, pretty good. Attack speed 100. Crit rate, crit damage, all the same. Auto regen 14. So nothing very stand out to me, except for maybe that attack interval 2 seconds. Is that in line? Let's just say I'm always going to compare her to Idril because Idril's kind of the de facto standard. So what is her base interval 1.8. So she's actually slower as well. Maybe we'll take a look at Nyx and see what that looks like. Obviously, Nyx is just going to outpace her in damage, but 3.5 second attack interval. So she does have a nice fast attack interval as compared to Nyx, which is interesting. But why don't we? So we're going to do a couple things with Esme here. The first place we're going to take her in is the clan boss. And you're thinking clan boss? Yeah, I just want to see what kind of damage she does. This is an easy way to kind of baseline the damage we have. So I'm going to run it once without her, and we're going to put in, of course, the team. You may recognize them. We're going to have Hex, and we're going to have Silas. In fact, we probably just will put the piercers in there that have already got built, and then we're going to take out Silas, put her in Silas's gear, so we can say compared to Silas, and or maybe compare, and then compare to Idril as well, just so we have an idea of what kind of consistent damage she can do to a single target. I am well aware that she is a multi-target champion. She has the multi-target abilities, which is why we're going to take her in Gear Raid 3 after that. But first, I do want to see just kind of what's the baseline. What can she do? What can those poisons do? What altogether, what can it affect you? This is really important to me for the early game. If you pull her as an epic and you build her out, you're going to put her into your guild boss until you have other options available. So it's good to see. So why don't we go over to the guild boss and just do some damage testing next. All right, here we are, Nightmare 1 now, because we've taken down the previous boss, so we get to move on to Nightmare 1. I am using a Piercer Lord Lunaria. It's not really a must in the guild boss, but why not give that extra opportunity? And then we have our Hex here, just so we have an idea of what his stats look like. Again, stats 13-4, he's at 1.5 second interval, crit capped at 247 crit damage. Next, we have Silas that we're bringing in as well. Let's take a look at him. 13,777, 1.2 second interval. Not quite crit cap, but 234 crit damage. Ooh, it's kind of an ugly crit damage, but that's okay. We know the numbers. That's fine. And then finally, Idril's going to be in there. So we have our epic test, and she is sitting at 11,501, 1.1 second. Not crit cap, but 352 crit damage. And then what we're going to do is we'll swap out. I think I want to try. I'm going to try Idril's gear. We're just going to swap that gear and see if that makes any difference. I think the fact that her crit rate's less than 100% on that gear will really kind of show you that if those poisons are actually getting off on the boss. But first, I'm just going to run this off screen and give you the result, and then we'll run the same comp with our Esme in there, and we'll see what the differences are. Okay, so here is the kind of the standard. Here's the baseline. We have 32 million damage from our Hex, 26.8 out of Idril, 25.4 out of Silas, and obviously we did not place Lunaria, and of course these two were just there hollow to keep them alive, and of course Dolores to boost their attack. So there's our baseline. Now we're going to put in Esme from her, and I'm actually going to run this one through for you so we know the test parameters on this. This isn't to show you a team. This is just to show you damage. I say that 100 times because inevitably someone's going to be like, well, you know, I get it. I get it. So let's fight this one again. And this time we're going to take Idril out. We're going to put Esme in. Maybe. As soon as we find her, there she is. And we're going to swap gear. Very simply, we're just gonna swap the gear over to her, and then away we go. So, as we are aware now, there is a bonus that Idril gives to damage, gets from damage rather, when someone else uses their ult first, and so we did make use of that. So here, each time an ally casts their ultimate, this hero's next attack will deal 100% increased damage. It is just one hit, so it's not that big of a deal, but just so you're aware, the timings I used was when Idril was ready, we ran the ults. So Dolores, except for Dolores, had to be ready for that. The very first one, Dolores is starting, is a little bit low. So you'll see it when I run this. But let's just take a look at the numbers. We had about 62 or 68, so about the same player power. So that's good. I'll show you what I mean when I do that. Now, I can't remember if I have inspiration champions or I assume I don't have inspiration sets, but nonetheless, we are going to run the same thing. I put him down first, then we put Dolores in case she has an inspiration set that I'm unaware of. Then we put her down underneath, and then we'll run Hollow in case she has an inspiration set, and then we'll put Hex in last. And then what we do is, again, as soon as she's ready, I'll run everyone's ult. And that's just to get some fairness in the damage. Now, did I have any? Oh, see, we do have attack speed 30. Oh, that's for the, okay, so that's the apple or whatever. But it looks like no one had any. Was it two? It has to be right next. I'm a little bit confused. How's to? Oh, you got it from her. So Dolores, so Hollow has it, obviously. Anyway, doesn't really matter. I did the same for both of them. So, okay, so as soon as she's ready, we're gonna run all the way across, and then we're gonna keep off of her timing on ults. So ult's ready, we go boom, 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 and then we actually run them all. Hollows we just run whenever it's ready to continually burst that inspiration. Obviously, Hex is gonna be a lot slower than the others with his ult, and his ult does of course last longer. I see those poisons at 3. That's really good. We're going to see how often that will drop off during this fight. This will actually tell us quite a bit on whether or not we can constantly depend on that. And it looks like yes. I mean, oh, see there, it dropped off. It had 3 stacks and it dropped completely down, which is interesting. There to back up. The stacks didn't seem to. When they all run off at the same time, because now if we only had her at 60% crit rate, she may not be critting, but at the same time when she is hitting that, it does look pretty good. Okay, so now we're just about ready for the next round of ults. We'll hit, and hit, and then we will do hexes as soon as because again I just want to do this the same for everyone. I want to make sure the testing is identical. We can actually, I think we can 2 times this. This might cost us a slight bit of damage, but I did 2 times it at about here on the last one. So again, I want to make sure everything is equal on our pacing here. So here we go. I'm curious to see, like, is she going to be kind of underrated for single target bosses? Because that poison's just getting all that extra tick. It's 3 ticks. So it's going to be 3% damage every tick, every second for 5 seconds. And it looks like it's keeping up, especially around her ult, very well. So, and then just as I say that, it falls off. I can't remember what my last, it was around the 87, right? We're actually going to hold him till they're all ready here. And then, because again, I did the same thing last time. So this should be the last set of ults, maybe? And then we'll see. Damage is looking like it's going to be fairly consistent, fairly similar, which is interesting. I mean, Idril isn't really a clan boss champion either, but it is curious just to see. There, let's get some extra damage on those last few attacks. There's the 0. Let's see what the number is. I think that's slightly higher. I think it was 87, 89. Not that Dragon Blood means everything. It did upload it, so that tells you. Let's see the damages. 35, 26, 24. She was a little less, but honestly kept herself pretty good there. Idril, I thought Idril would outpace her pretty considerably in this damage test. So the fact that she's within a few million, actually not too bad. I would be curious to see what would happen, and we're not going to do it for this, but I would be interested to see. Actually, you know what? We are going to do this. I'm going to rebuild her. I'm going to try to max her out with only 50% crit rate. I would just want to see if we do build her like that in a single target scenario, is that going to help her damage or is it going to harm it? So give me 1 second. We'll build her out. We'll do one more test like this. I'll just show you the results of it. And I'll show you her updated build for 50% crit rate, because I'm really curious about it and see if that would be something that you could even fathom to build. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, so first off, very hard to do that build and not have crit rate because of the gear that I had kept. But as you can see here, it truly... Now, I did this in auto, and I didn't replay. I think I stole something from Silas, so that's why he's different now. I just want to see her damage. Honestly, it did affect it a little bit, but not as much as I thought it would. Again, I'm going to estimate about 30 to 35 seconds of downtime in the entire clan boss fight. So that's a pretty good uptime for the poisons. Keep in mind that when it adds a tick, it resets the counter. So it's not like each poison is an individual, it stacks. So each poison isn't an individual timed event. It's like it's up and then it's got so many seconds for you to stack it. If you stack it, it resets its cooldown and it goes like that. So we kept it all together pretty good, pretty well. So yeah, just give you a little bit. Now we're gonna take her where I think she's gonna be the most useful, and that is going to be in the in Gear Raid 3 on the left-hand side if you need it. So why don't we stop dithering about and let's go check out Gear Raid 3. All right, here's our Gear Raid 3. We are going to take off the Power of Dominance, and we're going to give this a go. I've tried it once with the Power Dominance, and it happened really easily. Whether that means the same thing here. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, do it without legendaries. Let's try this first, and then we can go down that path. I don't have a whole lot built, and I don't have a whole lot of gear. So, do I think you can do it with all epics? Absolutely. I only have two legendaries in here and a lord. I can replace the lord for the distance. That makes life a lot easier in Gear Raid 3. There's strats without any legendary lord out there. But I don't need these two. Volca, I don't consider Volca a legendary being used. She's for cost purposes. When we repurpose Silas and get him back out on the playing field, do you need that? No, but you have a Volca. You're going to have a Volca on your team. You get her for free. So just, that's my thought process here. We're going to give this a try. We're going to see if it works. Maybe it won't even work. And then I'll be like, oh, I'm a silly fool. So first thing we do is we bring it down. She's going to give us some cost back at some point, hopefully. And then we're going to put our Idril down to get us some... that's actually not what we wanted to do. We're going to put our we're going to put our Dallin down.
I know my course.
Then we're going to put our Silas down because we don't have power dominance and we know he's going to actually have to work for his dinner. So there.
Even blood, I strike true.
Even then, he's hitting it pretty good. That's a pretty good start. And he's not in the better gear. Idril is, so. We want to get Idril.
My aim is true.
And then we want you.
Dance with me.
And we want you.
May mothers, the mother
And we're
tree
gonna
is
pull.
folly.
And then we're gonna run these. Okay. So far, so good. We can get you down.
Blood will spill.
Pull you. I mean, honestly, I don't even think I need Alora up that side.
They'll be dead before they hit the ground.
This is looking pretty good so far. We may need to put someone here to absorb some damage, and I don't know if I have that person. Let me just get that.
We are not a wild. Do you have a wound?
Our shadows can't hide you.
We're gonna put her right here, and that's only to absorb damage. I don't even think she's in gear. She's just there to be a target for this next hit. Right there. Oh yeah, she's taking the hit like a champ. All right, you see that on the left side? We are going to use her ultimate here. Okay, we killed the boss. We can get rid of these two.
For our loved ones,
Get rid of
there is
you.
no honor in death.
Put you down.
Mother's little roots are whispering
Lift
in
you up.
folly to stay here in the oak. Shall we dance?
Might as well drop this for the help. Especially seeing my timings are off, as you can see. I don't think I needed any of the legendaries. Silas definitely made things quicker, but I think we could have done that without. I do believe that. Because the only other thing Alora does is speed up the right side with her ult. Right? But see, if I don't touch her ult, Idril's gonna take care of that side on her own. We could just not even have her here, to be honest with you.
Have a bead on me.
So we're gonna try it. That's how we roll. That's how we roll here, right? Because now we can put Alora back in. There's no rush because it's taking forever.
The mother tree is lit as folly. Shall the power of
And there. Use her ult as well. And then she'll finish those last 3. This is where we can put Silas down to speed that up.
I strike true.
So yeah, it's the fasty strat works perfectly fine. That's Gear Raid 19 with her. I know what you're asking. Can we do it with all epics? We can try. So give me one last try and we'll pop it in there. Actually, you know what? We're not going to. The point is to show whether she can work Gear Raid, not whether we can do Gear Raid with all epics. She obviously did very well there. She was able to do it. I'll show you again. The gear on Idril you've already seen, right? So the gear we put on her, 62. It's nothing crazy. She was able to hold the left side. Idril's obviously the linchpin there, but we were able to get over 10k attack and 1.3 second interval and 265 crit damage. More than enough for what we needed to do. I do want to try her in one more space, and that is, gosh, one more. Where else would we use her? We wouldn't use her in Gear Raid 1 or 2. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe, I mean, yeah, you'd probably use her in Tide. That makes sense. Faction Trials, I feel like it's Cultist today, so no testy. We showed her in, we can use her in Promotion. That makes, I guess, Artifact Material Raid. I don't even know if I can do 18, but we can try. All right, so here is Stage 18 Artifact Material Raid. This is normally something I would do with Silas. She's obviously not going to be as fast, but she is going to have those poisons, so we hope that that'll be enough to push her through. We're using Brocure here because of his unique ability to live. We could have used other epics, right? Olog, I think, works really well in this position as well. But this just makes my life a lot easier. So we're going to put here. So what the key here is for her ultimate is when his ultimate's up, so he has some survivability. And then we are going to put down the rest because obviously we don't have quite that same beef. So we might even be able to... Come on. Okay, so we're gonna pop. And then we can put him in here so he can help damage. Yeah, that didn't. We hopefully can get someone over on this side.
My daggers feed on your fear.
There we go. I don't think Brocure has died yet, right? So that might be, we might be crushing it here. Because as long as he's got that one free live. Oh, did we get one? Got through for heals though. Oh, and then he took up a space. Oh, that's tragic. Okay. Oh god, he's killing everyone except for him. Okay, so there's his freebie. We can put arrogance down. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was definitely hoping to have her dead by now. I don't know if she even has gear on. I think not. Alright, this is our last hurrah. We got it! I mean, we got it. Of course we did. Well, that was close, but I got to tell you, this is not good gear. So being able to do that, and of course this is my first time completing it, so there's no Power of Dominance. Now I'll be able to put Power of Dominance on, and if I wanted to again, you see the stages we have don't have Power of Dominance unlocked. So there you go. That was a little touch and go, but honestly, we did it. I really wish I would have looked at the damage. Like an idiot, I didn't. So why don't we do this? Let's just run it again. Let's just do an auto fight with Power of Dominance, just to get an idea if whether she can flash farm this and what kind of damage she does. I mean, everything. That is exactly what I do with Silas, though obviously it's a lot quicker because of Silas's damage here. But let's just find out. Let's see what happens. I remember the first time I beat this, it certainly wasn't any kind of speed run. So, given the level of gear that I have on this account, I'm very happy with what happened there. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was I think a pretty nice show of damage. Yeah, and see here, she's gonna hit it. Sorry about that. I'm sure that was a loud boop. Yeah, so there you go. So I think you can use her in a artifact material raid. If you don't have that Silas, yeah, she did 5.9 million damage that time with the Power Dominance on. Obviously, the damages are going to be slightly different on that first run. I apologize for him. I was so excited, I didn't even think about it. But final thoughts on Esme. Yeah, so where can you use her? Obviously, Gear Raid 3 screams Gear Raid 3. Anywhere that you need low multi-target. So she's not going to work Gear Raid 1. She's not probably going to work Gear Raid 2. But she is going to be available for anywhere that you have 1, 2, 3 targets you need to hit. She does hit 2 targets. It can hit for more on her ultimate. And, of course, when you kill someone that has poison on them, it explodes and can hit up to 5. But it's group damage, which is why Gear Raid 3 makes so much sense for her. We did show her in AMR. I think she's available. I wouldn't pick her as my first, but I'd pick her over Idril because Idril's ultimate decides to hit everyone but the boss. So you got to keep that in mind. She's going to be very targeted. We were able to beat 18 with her help. Was she the driving force of it? She did the most damage, so you could argue she was the driving force. I apologize again for not getting the data on that first run. I was so excited that I actually beat it that I forgot to check the damage. But I mean, if she's doing the damage on the Power Dominance one when everyone's getting the boost, she's obviously going to be the same one doing that damage when it's without the Power of Dominance. So anyway, she's very good, very strong champion in my opinion. Very good epic. I think you're going to find some good uses for her. Is she going to carry you? Yeah, probably not. But I think she's going to help you. And especially if you have Lunaria, I think if when Esme comes into the game, you're new, you're free to play, you're low spend. If you have gotten Lunaria or Aracha for that matter, Araka, then that just makes her value that much more. So there's going to be tons of uses for her with that +1 range. I think a lot of places in Void Rift she's going to help you out. I'm thinking things like when with the respawning skeletons and those sort of things where you need that range to be able to take them down quickly. Her burst damage is going to do really well with that poison explosion. Things like that, I think she's going to do really well. So I think there'll be spots in the Void Rift where you can use her. I don't know if she has the damage you need to be able to use her for things like those guardians in the White Castle area. Sorry, I don't remember the names of any of these beasts, but the flying ones that come at you and they corrupt the tiles. I don't think she would have that burst damage available to be able to kill those things, but that would be an interesting one that maybe that's something, I can't test it here, but maybe when we get her on the live server at some point, I'll definitely try that out on my account. If not on Nightmare, even just see on hard. But yeah, I think she's got some good uses. She's a take Cuke. If Cuke and Nyx had a baby, but it took none of Cuke's facial features, essentially is what I look at her. She's got a lot of those Nyx like abilities. She's a piercer like Nyx, and she's got the added advantage of the poisons, which actually helps her a bit in Guild Boss in those early game if you need her for things like Guild Boss. things like some of those other raids that maybe you just don't have a choice for any other option. She's going to be able to be, she's going to be better than a single target piercer epic in that same spot in most cases. So I think in that case, you know, you think a single target boss like artifact material raid, like guild boss, she's going to at least be able to put something up for you. She's going to be able to do something for you, and I think that's something's better than nothing, right? So those are my final thoughts on her. I'm excited to see her in the live server when I can get her in my gear on my teams and see what we can do with her. But in the meantime, that's us on the test server. I want to thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe. We're aiming for 1,000. We're hoping to get there at some point. As always, be safe, be kind, and we'll see you in the next video.